The car is back already. Took 1 week to do these forward bars and redo this the inside on this cage. Got a lot of work to do to get it back together. We're talking about doing away with this fender structure and putting these bars here in place. This one here, welding them in place. We are still talking about cutting a lot of this fender structure out. I'm not really sure how far. Like in here and the other side, and like I said, a lot of work to do. Dustin Blevins did the cage on this thing, and you know, and you can look him up, or you can get with me maybe to get his phone number. But he's in Bedford, Indiana, and it's like he told us it'd be 2 weeks, but he got it done in a week, and it looks good. So we're happy with it, ready to get it rolling. All right, racing season's over, everybody. So we're gonna get back to the side projects here in the garage for a little bit. We are moving on to the LT1, which if you haven't seen that in a while, well, neither have I, really. But we've got a bunch of parts sitting around for it we're gonna start working on. One of them, which I did not even realize was sitting in my garage, was this nifty alternator relocation bracket. So we got that going on. Comes with a belt, sticker, which I didn't realize we ordered it from these guys, which I've dealt with these guys before on mail order tunes, and they did just fine. So I'm sure their alternator kit is just fine. If not, you're going to hear about it, because we're going to put it on here. Next item is this, just a bung, weld-in bung for this, or from his ear. Did not realize that this was stainless, but that's okay. Be fine there. Trying to decide where exactly on this oil pan to put it, and I don't remember how far the steering rack stuck out here. I can't remember if it was right here, or is it in front of the oil pan and behind the damper. I don't recall. Been a while since I've been around one. Probably going to see what I can do about sticking it probably right here. Not a lot of drop between the D1 Pro Charger and the oil pan there, but just enough, I hope. Next is just factory old, well, I shouldn't say factory, but they're Moly intake gaskets. Nothing fancy about these. Just, they are what they are. They just got to hold air. We have a set of Moly valve cover gaskets, which I'm not sure why we even use valve cover gaskets on this engine. I thought we did away with those. I'll look into that. The other thing is, I believe this is just a factory style oil pan gasket, regular old rubber oil pan gasket. Nothing fancy there. Let's see here. Loctite 598. It is not the best Loctite silicone I've used on an engine, but it is a good close second best. I use this stuff, it works really well. I kind of hate these cans. Them things, not real super great. I feel like I throw half of this stuff away because I can't get it out of the can. Seems like you got to run a pick down these things quite a bit. You take this end off, and you got to work on them every once in a while when you go to use them. But as far as a silicone that you don't have to worry about it leaking, this is good stuff. Usually, I think Summit sells this for, now don't quote me on this, but I think it's somewhere between 10 and 15 bucks. Like, you can buy it a little cheaper maybe through Amazon, maybe. I don't remember. You can buy cases of it, but I would not recommend buying a case because it'll go bad before you get it used up. Loctite has a shelf life, and I've never looked to see if there's an actual expiration date. I'm not really seeing one. Thomas, get out of here. Get out of here. Last but not least, the Edelbrock intake. We've got a guy lined up to do some welding on this. We actually started with a regular old small block Chevy intake. Obviously one set for fuel injection. We have the rails. They're sitting over there on a shelf. I don't know what this is. This thing's been sitting around long enough to start collecting cobwebs. Regular small block Chevy intake, we milled the water neck off of it. LT1 doesn't need it. We're probably going to plug these holes off, weld them up. And I've got these spacers made to weld on here to make the angle of the bolts correct. So we didn't want to just mill these flat where the bolts go on, because I've seen where guys have done that and you get in here in these corners and it gets pretty thin. So that's why I made the little spacers, and we'll cover that later on. And we have a plate system going on here. Be taking place of the shark nozzles or piranhas or whatever, catfish nozzles. And then the Holley elbow and the Holley throttle body, which is a 102 millimeter throttle body on LT1. Don't know what we're going to do yet about the actual throttle cable bracket, but I'm sure I'll finagle something together. And as far as the LT1 sits at the moment, it's just hanging upside down, waiting on me to get the bung welded on here, which I'm hoping within the next day or two I will be able to get that accomplished, get that out of the way, get the oil pan back on it, flip it over, start working on the top end. So that is the LT1 at the moment. If you have any questions, let me know. I guess I should tell you, this is a 383 LT1 factory block, no cement, trick flow heads, still running OptiSpark, because the OptiSpark does not give anybody any problems. They work perfect every time. And if you believe that, I've got oceanfront property to sell you.